Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Indie Author Life Show, a space dedicated to sharing the unique stories of authors and creatives within the self publishing space. My name is MG Hunt, and today I'm here with the amazing indie author Nikki Brooke, and we're here to chat all about her writing and creative life. So, thank you so much for joining me today here, Nikki. I really appreciate it.
I really appreciate being invited on. It's very exciting. Thank you.
Of course, I think that we are repping this little, I'd say it's niche, but I don't think it's as niche as we probably realize with young adult being our primary genre that we write in. But I am so excited that you love young adult as much as I do.
Yeah, it's so cool.
It is cool. So, to get started, can you give us a bit of an insight into your background and where you grew up?
Yeah, sure. So, yes, I'm Nikki Brooke, as you introduced, and these
Yeah.
are my two books that are out at the moment.
Yes.
Annoyingly for the readers, they're both the first book in different trilogies. So, Plague Lands is a young adult dystopian that's a little bit serious and gets a bit dark at times with a bit of a stroppy main character, Martina, who's also lovable.
Mm.
And then I've got the Huxian Fox, which is completely different to Plaguelands. It's a young adult space opera, so not so different that it's still in the science fiction realm, but it's basically Indiana Jones in space, and it's super duper fun. There is some serious topics in there, but it
Mm.
gives you like this beautiful sense of hope and joy reading it, and certainly writing it as well. So they're my two books. A little bit about me is that, yeah, I've just loved writing from a really, really lo young age.
Mm.
I've always wanted to be a writer as far as I can remember. And yeah, I also love doing adventures and things like that. So I do a lot of travel. So I find that really inspiring for my
Mm.
writing. Yeah, so yeah, when I travel, I get a lot of inspiration. I do a bit of writing. And the other things that I'm really interested in is my two dogs, which are called Osiris and Apollo, because I'm also into mythology. So that's me.
Hmm. Love that. And what kind of dogs do you have?
They're very cheeky Cocker Spaniels.
Oh my gosh, lots of energy, I can imagine. Oh my goodness. No,
They
that's
do, but
so
they also
lovely.
love a snuggle. So you get the best
Oh,
of both worlds.
love
They're
that.
really snuggly, and but then they love to chase a ball as
Yes.
well and go for a run and stuff. So it's
Because they've
cool.
got that nice fur as well. It's nice, like silky, kind of curly. Is that right? Yeah. Oh
It's
my
like teddy bear, like the soft
Yes.
teddy bear fur. It's so
Oh, I
cute.
love it. I love animals. I have a cat, but I grew up with a dog, so definitely
Yeah.
appreciate both. And our British short hair, Stella, she's got like a really nice fur as well that she we call her a teddy as well because it's just so
There
like
we
nice
go.
to like densely cuddle her and everything like that. So love that you love
I'm
animals.
not sure if you can hear on your end, but my dogs have just
No.
started barking
Oh.
outside. I'm like, they must have heard that we're talking about them. So I don't know what's
Yes.
going on there.
I can't hear them, so I'm sure no one
Oh,
else
that's
can
great.
as well. But no, I mean you
Yeah.
can. But yeah, I don't think it will pass on to the audience, but that's hilarious. They
Oh,
know.
well. Well,
They
they say
know.
hello. I'm
Oh,
sure that's
thank
them saying
you.
hello.
Oh, good. No, you have to give them a big pat after this and a
Of,
big,
of
yeah. So they've
course,
been very good while Mum's been away filming some stuff.
doing work.
Yes. And you were saying about travel and how that's such a big part of your creative, I guess, source of inspiration. Are there any
Yeah.
particular places that have inspired your books?
Yeah, a little bit of a few places, especially in the Huxian Fox, because
Mm,
the characters go to lots of different planets.
yeah.
So one planet that they go to is Pink,
Mm.
which was slightly inspired by the Wadi Rum in Jordan, so in the
Ah,
Middle East,
that's
which
so
is
cool.
actually got like pink, white, and black sand. Well, I guess the pink is kind of reddish, but it
Mm.
looks kind of pink when it goes in with the white sand. And it's just
Wow.
phenomenal. And it's got these beautiful monument, like,
Yeah.
rock
In
structures.
Petra, is that what it is? Or
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, like near Petra,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. And of course, Petra. I
Oh,
guess that kind of inspired me as well
mm,
because Indiana Jones in space, and then Indiana Jones was filmed at Petra. So there's
yes.
definitely that inspiration there.
So cool.
Um,
Love it.
and then Plague Lands is set in Texas, which I used to live in Texas for a little while. So
Oh,
yeah, not somewhere I would want to be right now, unfortunately.
no.
So, certainly as someone that's queer, but it was fun at the
Mm.
time.
Fun at the time. That is, yeah, as
Yeah,
it's the biggest state in the US, if that's correct, or
yeah.
maybe second because of Alaska, but I could be
Yeah,
wrong.
I'm not sure actually, but the biggest state of the main area, the
Yeah, so I
main
guess it probably
continent.
has a lot of diverse geography as well in Texas. Maybe there's a
Yeah,
desert kind of part, and also does it
yeah,
touch the ocean too? Am I completely?
yeah,
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 so there's lots of different
yeah.
areas there. I'm sure
On
that could
the east,
inspire.
yeah. So I lived in Austin,
Uh-huh.
which is quite central, but yes,
Yes.
there's desert not far from the city, and but then there's also like farmland and tumbleweeds,
Yeah.
the whole sort of country
Whole
kind of
country
image
thing.
that you have, and people wear cowboy boots and hats everywhere there.
Oh,
And I have
so
I have some still.
of
It's been a
course.
little while since I lived there, quite a few
Yeah.
years, but yes, I still
Yeah.
have my cowboy boots and hat from living there.
So
Yeah.
did you start writing your first book in the Plague Lands, sorry, Plagued Lands? Did you start writing that when you were still living in Texas?
No, actually, so I went through a bit of a spell, well, for quite a bit of a spell. It lasted like a decade,
Mm, mm,
where I didn't believe that I was good enough to write. And
mm.
it's important to talk about really, because I think
Yeah.
a lot of people that want to write and other creators or anybody else that might have a big dream a lot of the times we get in our own way,
Yep.
and I did that.
Hmm.
And luckily, I had someone help me get out of my own way. But it's really, really important to believe in yourself. Um,
Totally.
and it's really important that you don't give up.
Hmm. Hmm. You
And
just, yeah, sorry.
yeah,
Wow.
so while I was living in Texas was during that period. So it was after that yeah,
Mm.
it was actually even after I'd returned to Australia, and had been living here for a little while before I came up with the concept of plagued lands,
Yeah.
which I hope you don't mind me deviating from
No,
the
please
question.
go for it.
But the concept of plague lands is that it's like a few like centuries after this massive pandemic kills off most of the population on Earth, and now everyone's obsessed with being healthy and clean, and so we all
Mm.
live in these semi-sterile glass bubbles.
Yeah.
Like the city, like not individual ones, but the city is surrounded by this glass bubble. And to
Yes.
go outside, you need to wear a hazmat suit. And of
Mm.
course, everybody thinks that it was inspired by COVID, but I
Ah,
had the idea before COVID. But then when COVID happened, I thought it was a sign to actually write it, so I did. And it does have like little things that I learnt
yeah.
about lockdowns and pandemics
Yeah.
through living through COVID in the book, and it
Yes.
mentions COVID as one of the diseases that people
Interest.
had overcome in the past.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
but yeah, so that was quite a while after I lived in Texas, but still, I
Yeah.
thought Texas was a good, I don't know, background for it for
I
some
think so.
reason. I'm not even
I
really sure.
I don't know.
Could have
I
been
think
Australia.
it could have been Australian as well, but I think that that's interesting how it is because, yeah, Texas is so iconic in a lot of ways. I think it's interesting that you say that a lot of people thought that COVID inspired your writing for this particular novel because I feel like there was a lot of media and continues to be media that surrounds plagues and outbreaks. And I think of even 28 years later, how that's made a resurgence with the films that have come
Yeah.
out with that. Yeah, and The Bone Temple, which I really
Yes.
enjoyed The Bone Temple. I don't know whether you're into watching that series, but yeah, I really enjoyed that.
I
Um,
haven't got around to it
oh,
yet, but it is on my radar.
really, really
So yeah,
good.
so do it.
really, really good. And so also like even like a video game that was then the series The Last of Us, which was the
Yeah,
plague, yeah.
yeah. I've
So
only seen the
mm,
first season, which I think they've got a second season out now. But I
yes.
do actually
Mm,
sometimes say Plaguelands has some
yep.
similarities to
Yeah,
it. It is quite
exactly.
different, but yeah, definitely the
Oh,
comparison is there.
there's
Yeah,
always like interest for that. I feel like I
yeah,
love reading dystopian. I don't know why. I feel like it is maybe a morbid curiosity, but I think it does keep me hooked more than other genres. I don't know what it is.
yeah. I love that it takes something from modern
Yeah.
society and expands and investigates that thing. And what if we keep going down the route that we might be
Yes.
going down at the moment and it blows up? What
Yep.
would that future potentially look like? And like, there's obviously good things in Playlands, like the people.
Mm.
Um, feel healthy because
Yeah.
they think they are, they think they're safe.
Mm.
And then there's some bad things because there's all this control and things like that. And we're dealing with those things now as
We are.
well. I mean, there's safety, but at the same time,
Yep.
it's not that safe as well. Like, and I think just even those opposites are always something that in almost any book you can probably
Yeah.
explore that.
Oh, for
The other thing
sure.
about Plague Lands that was inspired from living in Texas
Mm.
is that there's a lot of advertising in Texas for medications. So we don't get it
Mm.
as much here in Australia because of
No.
our health system is completely different.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of a culture shock to go there and have advertisements like we advertise Coke or we
Yes.
advertise Pepsi.
Pepsi,
That might be a better one to
whatever.
say when we're talking
Advertise.
about medication.
Yeah, that's right. No, but I totally understand where it is jarring when you see. I even think about
Yeah,
like how there was, because there was a lot of talk about the medication Ozempic and how there was just like a lot of discussion with that. And they kept playing like a jingle for it as well. And I was like,
yeah,
that sounds dystopian to like make a jingle
yes.
for a medication.
That's how it sounded to me.
Yeah,
It just sounded like they're not really concerned about your health, they're concerned about
no.
making money.
Yeah.
So,
Mm, mm,
yeah,
mm,
that's
mm.
what Plaguelands is a lot
Oh,
about.
I love that. That's so interesting to
So
explore
yeah, and
that.
obviously, we've seen in the past some of the big pharma companies do take
Yep,
advantage of people as well. So
absolutely.
yeah, it's just, what happens if you
Mm.
know, they're never checked, if we just believe everything that some of these big companies tell us. And
Oh,
that can go across big pharma and obviously lots of other companies as well.
yes.
So
Well, even
yeah,
like
it's
I think about like maybe a couple of years ago it was still well, it's still prevalent now, but I remember 10, 15 years ago how like the clean living healthy detox sort of like smoothie drinking craze seemed to sweep a lot of social media. I think about like the Belle Gibson scandal with
yeah.
like her clean eating book and all that stuff. And so when you were talking about the obsession with being healthy and that kind of stuff, I think that if you had published Plagued Lands back, 10, 15 years ago, it still would have had relevancy because
Yeah.
these themes keep popping up.
Yes. And come to think of it, I probably thought of the original concept maybe about 10 years ago, even though it only
Mm,
got published just over a year ago. So,
yeah. It was just
yeah.
sitting
But
there.
that's how long it sat there. And probably
Yeah.
not quite 10 years, but not far off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
all these influences that we see, and it is still
Hmm.
relevant now because there's a lot of health misinformation that gets pushed out on social media, that's for sure. It just won't go away. And I think AI has a lot of
Yeah.
fault for that. But otherwise, it just seems like whenever that you would have published this book, and that is the beauty of dystopian novels, is that it seems like there's always something that you can find relatable in our modern world,
100%.
to what's being
Yeah.
written here.
It's really interesting if you read some old science fiction as well, like things that were published 100 years ago or
Yeah.
more, you'll still find relevance now. It's
Because
very
it
interesting.
is interesting. These are all the things that we
Yeah.
think about as society. So it does
Yeah.
tell us a lot about ourselves. So yeah,
Yeah.
super, super
Yeah.
interesting. So
Yeah.
if we get back
Makes
more.
sense that you love
Oh,
it.
absolutely. Absolutely. We are one and the same with that. And so, getting back to more of yourself and your
Sure.
practice with how you
Mhm.
approach writing, can you give us an insight into what a day or week in the life of yourself looks like and how writing fits into that?
Yes, I mean, it's so funny because it's obviously really different for everyone. And for me, it can be absolutely completely different from day to day as well.
Mm.
I think it's really hard to get a routine when it's not your main job.
Yeah.
And it's not my main job, unfortunately. I wish it was.
Yeah.
I do love my other work as well, which is completely different. I'm an accountant
There you
by day.
go. So
Yeah, so
interesting. Yeah.
I'm using numbers and words. It
Yeah,
it does actually work.
it works.
Um, but yeah, so you have to squeeze it in around other things. And you know, the authors that are parents and then they do the two jobs as well. I have so much respect for them. I don't know how they do it. Luckily,
Oh,
it's just me and my dogs,
yeah.
and yeah, then my day job, and then I've got this on, that I squeeze in
Yeah.
between. Um, so yeah, so it does look a little bit different all the time, but maybe I'll talk about when I'm drafting because that is more
Ah.
structured. Because when I'm drafting,
Mm-hmm.
I do like to put down some words every day.
Yep.
You don't have to, but literally, I'm a fan of the 20-minute sprint. In
Yes.
fact, some other writer friends of mine are doing an 18-minute sprint at the moment.
Interesting. I like
Yeah,
that.
so it seems to be a really optimal number. So
Nice.
18, 20 minutes, it's here or there, right? So,
Yep.
but what you do in that time, like, you put on a timer and really it is there to write. So you don't do the research or,
Nothing
don't get
else.
distracted by anything else. Just sit down, type words. Obviously, you're allowed to sit and think if you need
Mm.
to, but don't do anything else. You just sit and write.
Yep.
And if there is anything you need to research, you can mark it, go on to the next sentence, or go to a different section or something and keep writing.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a skill I needed to learn because I'm a linear writer, so it felt weird to mark something and then keep going.
Mm.
Um, but that is actually how I ended up writing The Huxian Fox, which took less time than any other book. This took me 3 months to write, to draft, first
Whoa.
draft.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I would say I'm generally a slow writer, but it's also a
Mm-hmm.
fast book, by the way, I should say. Like it's
Okay. You just knew.
really fast
Yeah.
paced. So yeah, there's lots of beats. So I think that makes it
Mm.
easier to write.
Yeah.
It's not, it's a little bit shorter than Plague Lands, but not enough that, there's months and months difference. I think
Yeah.
Plague Lands took me 10 months to write, and it's not that much more.
Interesting.
But
Yeah.
yeah, that 20-minute sprint really helped. And then when I had more time, then obviously, I might do a 20-minute sprint, but then I'll do several 20-minute sprints in a
Yes.
day.
And then it
And
adds up.
sometimes I'll just turn the timer off and just write and
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
Oh, one other cool thing I
Yeah.
do, because phones are one of the worst things that you can have while you're writing. If you get distracted on your phone, you end up,
Oh.
doom scrolling. You're going to waste half an hour to an hour, and then all of your writing
No.
time's sucked into the ether.
Yep. Yep.
So instead of having my phone nearby, for the 20-minute sprints, I have it so that for a timer. But
Mm.
if I'm just writing, I'll try and keep it away from me. But I can't just sit there and stare at a screen either because it's
Yeah.
just too much pressure.
Uh-huh.
So there's two other things I like to do. One is like the coloring books for adults, like where,
Ah.
you know, they're not
Yeah.
adult content. They're just,
No. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a good one. So I can just like do that and you're thinking at the same time as like doing something that you don't have to think too hard about. And
Interesting.
the other one is jigsaw puzzles.
Jigsaw
Because
puzzles. Love
again,
it.
your brain's still active. You're not just
Yes.
staring at a screen, you have less pressure, but you're still stewing that story over in your head. So they're
Yes.
two things I like to do if I'm not doing the sprints. So I don't do those if I'm doing the sprints, but if I'm just writing and I need a break, like if I've got a big chunk of
Mm.
writing time,
Yep.
then that will be my thinking time in between putting words down on the page.
Wow, I love that because I am someone who I think I definitely need to take a leaf out of a page out of your book, so to speak, because I am someone that will get stuck on a particular part of writing and then just go on my phone or
Yeah.
go, oh, just do some research and all that stuff. And it's like, no, that's
And you go
distracting.
down a rabbit hole.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep. I don't
yeah.
know why I
Or
do
I'll
that.
go to the fridge as well, or put on a
Yep.
load of laundry or something.
Ah,
And
take yourself away, then
yeah, which I
come
mean,
back.
some of those things can be good as well, especially when you're really, really stuck and because if
Yeah.
you put too much pressure on yourself, I think sometimes it's harder to get those words out.
Oh God.
But
Yeah.
sometimes walking away, then you're just procrastinating.
Yes. There's that too. And it's interesting
You
that
have to
you
know
said,
yourself.
yeah, you have to know
Sorry.
yourself. And I think that if you take time away, I'm sure you're the same because you've mentioned this before in what you were saying. Like, there's probably never a time where you're not thinking about the book or you're not thinking about it when you're
Yeah.
in the process of
Yeah.
drafting and it's
Yeah.
always on your mind. And so having things like the jigsaw or the coloring in book, I think is good to let your brain wander and think while you're doing that stuff.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
so
because
interesting.
if you're just looking at that blank page, it kind of laughs at you,
Yeah.
I reckon.
Mm,
It's like staring back at you going, ha ha ha, you can't think of the next
next word.
word.
I'm here.
That's my writer brain though, making
Oh,
inanimate objects become human.
oh my God. Like it's so interesting that you say that too, because it does feel daunting when there's like
Mm.
no words on the page and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I need to do something, but I can't. So you just have to go, you know what? I'm not going to let this overrule me. I need to, yeah, know myself. So
And do
that's a really
you
great thing.
find this
Yeah.
other thing that I find I sometimes do is if I am just staring at the page, I'll rewrite a few sentences over and
Mm,
over again, even though they'll probably
mm,
fine the first time. But I'll
interesting.
then obsess over that line rather than going to the next line.
Oh, I don't, yeah, that's a really interesting thing because I think for words, I obsess over the words rather than necessarily a sentence. But that is really interesting that you say that because I do know people that do that, where they just go, I've written the same thing multiple times and I'm going to pick the one that is best. And it's like sometimes that leads into procrastination territory. But
Yeah, I
otherwise,
think
yeah.
the only time I stress that much is when I'm procrastinating. If I need
Mm,
it to hit that point or something like that, then that's fair.
yep.
Stress over that line. Or if you want a really beautiful description, then yes, stress
Mm,
over how you want to describe that.
yes.
That's fine because that's how you get those beautiful sentences,
Yeah.
where that you're the ones that you're really proud of. You're like, oh my God, I thought of that.
Oh, just did that.
That's
It came out of
fine.
nowhere. Yeah.
But yeah, those ones in the middle, if you're just doing it and it really doesn't matter that much, you're getting the
Oh,
information across anyway, that's when you're procrastinating. And you just got
that's,
to take
yeah.
the pressure off for a second and you then go back to it.
I did want
So,
to ask you about what you find is the hardest part about writing versus the most enjoyable.
yeah. Okay. So the actual, that's such a great question because really I love all the writing parts of it. So the writing and editing, getting feedback even. I actually, sometimes that can be a bit daunting, but
Yeah.
usually it actually excites me because then
Ah,
I'm like, yes, that's how I'm going to fix this. So
yes.
I actually just got chills saying that because I really put
Mm,
myself in that moment.
yeah.
So I find that exciting. So all the writing part of it, I love.
Yeah.
It's the marketing part that I hate,
Mm.
especially as an indie author. Like,
Oh,
I mean, even traditionally published authors these
yeah.
days have to do a lot of their own marketing
They
as well.
do.
But it
Yeah.
can be fun, but
Hmm.
it's also the thing that I find the hardest and the
Yeah.
least enjoyable part of the
Yeah.
process.
Yeah,
So
it's a
yeah,
big ask,
that's
I
it.
think, for indie authors to go and do the marketing too. And I think it's a big ask for authors in general because it is a stereotype. But I do think that a lot of authors do find putting themselves out there to be counterintuitive, maybe because a lot of the time we spend so much time in other people's kind of heads and writing about other people instead of ourselves. And then you have to talk about yourself and you're like, oh, okay, where do I
Yeah.
begin?
And a lot of us are introverts as
Yeah.
well, not all.
Hmm.
That is a stereotype, but a lot of us
Mm.
are, and I am, even though I don't come across as an
Yep.
introvert.
I relate.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So putting ourselves out there then is
Ugh.
it takes effort. It
Yeah,
takes more effort because it's different effort than writing a book.
it
So even
is.
though that effort is huge and takes a lot of time,
Yeah.
it doesn't have the heaviness sometimes, or I swear
No.
it's kind of pain that marketing can have.
There's all these kind of, it feels like marketing is so elusive a lot of the time, and it's something that I don't fully understand, but I
Yeah.
appreciate it. I know that it's there,
Hmm.
and I think that I approach it with like a what suits me is what's going to go, because if I'm running the show, I need to make sure I don't burn myself out by posting so much on social media that I get sick of it or get
Yeah.
into debates or get into the negative side of looking at things, because
Yeah,
it
the
can be
toxic
negative.
side. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, with so much discussion
But on
and
the flip side,
yes, yes,
like I end up finding you through social media, and some other absolutely amazing readers and authors, and that's the upside of it. So there's definitely
true.
an upside,
That
but
is very true. Yeah.
yeah. So
Mm.
the payoff is good, but there's a lot of effort involved to get
Yes.
there, I guess. And yeah, there's a
Oh,
few hurdles and a few yeah,
yeah.
potholes, not plot
Yes.
holes.
Oh.
Potholes. Them too.
Oh, well, that's it. Like, I think that it's a hard a hard space to navigate. And I think that's a universally shared concern with authors, indie and traditionally published alike. But yeah, you're so right about the connection part of it, because that was the best way that I learned how to do self-publishing, was actually through
Yeah.
talking with other people and then
Yes.
being introduced to new books like yourself and
Yeah.
your books. So there's that as well. So if it can be used as a positive research tool, I think that's what we should be advocating for. And also, yeah, it is good to have discussions, even though sometimes it can be a lot to see stuff that is discussed that sometimes you go, oh gosh, okay, we are in dystopia now. We are really in a bit of a pickle. So there's that where I'm conscious I need
I
to turn
think
my
we've
brain off.
surpassed dystopian and we're now living in the parody of a dystopian,
Oh,
I think, with some of the
love it.
ridiculous things that are
Mm,
going on right now. It's just nobody could write this because it's so
no,
ridiculous.
exactly. I was
Yeah.
thinking that as well. Like I was having discussion a bit like even today, I think at work, my day job, we were talking about the new Melania documentary.
Oh,
And I was like, this feels AI. It just feels so
yeah.
like there's a robot talking, and because I was watching like a skit about it and all that stuff. And I thought,
Yeah.
yeah, you can't write this stuff that I
No,
just, yeah.
nobody would have believed it.
No, no.
No.
I'm sure there'll be a book coming out eventually or something that reports about how crazy this time was and all that. But at the same time, yeah,
100%. I do
it's
not want to
yeah.
write that book though, because I think it'll also be too depressing.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And I think yeah, because it's hard like when we get into dystopian books, like there is so much um like it's so enjoyable, but it is depressing at the same time. But maybe it is just like the
Yeah.
way that it makes your brain think about things that really is the most enjoyable and exciting part about it.
And I think one thing that we got to remember when we're reading dystopians, like some people have said, why do we even want to read a dystopian when we're living one right now?
Mm,
And the reason I give them is because, good ends up winning in these dystopians
yes.
usually, not all the time, but,
Mm-hmm.
there's always the rebellion that you can rally behind, right?
Yeah,
And that's what we need. We need to remember, the rebellious side of it and,
totally.
that fight for freedom, the fight for truth
Yep.
that most dystopians have. So, and that's
Yes.
definitely the case of Plaguelands.
Absolutely. I love that because it is uplifting then when you see the
Mhm.
fight and you see the underdog take on. I think of, Hunger Games with Katniss
Yeah.
and versus President Snow. And there's that kind of
Yes.
trope that,
And one
yes.
person can make a difference. I mean, we see that in real life as well with
Yep.
Greta Thunberg as well. People like
Mm,
that. I mean, there's obviously others, but that's the first one came to mind because, she
yes.
started as a teen and she's like really inspired people, exactly like a
Exactly.
YA dystopian.
There's still good discussions that are being had in a world where it feels like a lot of people are going through a bit of a psychosis of the truth. God. But anyway, I will get into the next part. And I know we did discuss a little bit about your latest publications with Plagued Lands and the Huxian Fox, but I'm wondering if you can explain how you approached writing both of these novels. And I know that you did mention timing was maybe a big difference in how you
Yeah.
got these books out. But yeah, give us an insight into the differences and maybe similarities between those two
Yeah.
publications.
Sure, that's such a great question because I think it allows people to see different ways that people do things and then
Mm,
and know and realize that it's different for everyone
it's
as well. There's
so
no right
different.
way.
No, no right way.
Um, the only right way to do it is to write something.
That's it.
Um,
That's it.
Everything else is optional, but you can always get ideas.
Yep.
But yeah, so Plagued Lands, so I did write another novel before this where I pantsed. I pantsed the whole
Ah.
novel and it's awful. And I know pantsing for some people works really well.
Yep.
But after I finished the other novel, which I will rewrite one day, but just it's down the track on my list of projects.
Mm.
I still love the concept, but the book is terrible. When I went, so after realizing there was like pacing issues, there was no real tension throughout the novel, I realized that if I wanted that structure, I should plot beforehand.
Yep.
So I've ended up with this hybrid between plotting and pantsing, which I
Mm.
think a lot of plotters actually do.
Yep.
And what I did is I plot all the main things that happen, so all the big events,
Yep.
and then I plot a few of the smaller events, and that might include some of like the subplots and things like that. Or,
Yes.
I want this character to feel like this. I don't know how yet, but I want them to feel like this around about here, or I want to
Mm.
reveal that there might be a love interest here or
Yep.
something like that, or a hint at a betrayal by this point or something. So I'll put little notes like that in there in my file for me. So I use Scrivener, which can
Yep.
split the book up in like post-it notes. So a lot of authors use post-it notes, whereas Scrivener, you can do it all in the file, but it's
So
the
cool.
same as post-it notes. I love
Yep.
it. Um, and yeah, like so I do that and I put notes for myself and then I kind of pants between each point. So that gives me a lot of flexibility
Yes.
to then flip things around if I
Yeah.
want to. So if something comes along that I'm like, oh my God, that's such a great idea, I need to put that in there.
Yep.
I still have that flexibility while still maybe journeying to that endpoint that I'd already discovered. It might maybe change the endpoint, but usually
Yeah.
it doesn't. Um,
That's super.
so
Yeah.
yeah, so I tried
Relatable.
that out with Plagued Lands, and I
Yes.
did pants a little bit more with Plagued Lands than I did with the Huxian Fox.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I did pretty much the same thing with the Huxian Fox.
Mm-hmm.
One of the main differences, though, is the Huxian Fox is written from two points of view, so two characters,
Yep.
whereas Plaguelands is only one.
Yeah.
So, given that when I was plotting it out, and I wanted it to interchange between chapters, so one chapter's Fan, and then the next one's Ashanya, and then it
Yep.
goes back to Fan.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, while I was plotting it, I had to make sure that those sorts of things lined up with my plotting. So I
Yep.
was a little bit more detailed there. And
Mm.
the other thing is, because the characters are very different, I want wanted their voices to sound very different while writing.
Mm,
So it almost sounded like a different author was writing that section. You can
yeah.
still tell it's me because I use similar sentence structure and things like that.
Mm,
But
your
the fan
voice.
character is much more impulsive. She's much more she doesn't pay as much attention to detail and things like that. So her sentences are shorter. She's got a little bit more things like gotta instead of going to or something like
Those
that
little
or
parts.
wanna. Yeah, so
Yeah.
little things like that. But also because like hers are so much more action filled, and then Ashanya's section is more got a little bit more description and detail as well. So I
Hmm.
had to be very careful that I wasn't slowing down the story in fan section because she doesn't
Hmm.
think like that. Because if you put a lot
Yep.
of description in, it slows the action
Mm.
down.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, so it was this balance between how much description I put into her section and how much I didn't, because sometimes they're not in the same scene. So you still need to have them, like I still need to have fan describe things,
Yeah.
but do it quickly
Yeah, but
in
that's
a
the way
way
that
that
those characters would
yeah,
process their surroundings. It's like one of them would
yeah,
be like, yeah, okay, I see that. But the other one would go, no, this is how I'm feeling. This is how I can see it right now. And I'm going to tell you how it
yeah,
is. Yeah, it's so
yeah.
interesting. Wow.
So when I was plotting, I also had to think about some of those things, but
Yeah.
also while I was writing, that meant that my plotting had to change as well because there'd be a scene where I was just like, no, I can't have any description in this scene, or, very little description in that scene because it's not going to work from fans' point of view. I need
Yes.
to somehow bring that into Ashanya's point of view.
Yeah.
And
It's
that then meant
complex.
things like slightly moved around as well. So it was quite
Oh,
complicated. I was very particular about it because I wanted them to sound very, very different. And I
yeah.
wanted you, as soon as you start reading a chapter, I wanted you to know who you were reading without, I do have like chapter titles saying it's Fan or Ashanya, but I
Hmm.
wanted it to be that you didn't need them if you wanted to ignore them.
I mean, I think that's such a brilliant approach. And I also think that even if it could potentially, and hopefully we can manifest this, that it turns into an audiobook, you could have two different voice actors. And then even that would be
Yes.
another added element to it where the voice actor would know exactly how to perform because you've written it in the voice that is meant for that
That's
character. Yeah.
exactly what I want. In fact,
Mm.
I'm not sure if you know, but Plagued Lands, I actually narrated, and there's an audiobook version
Oh, that's amazing.
available.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. We love
So
that.
I
Yep.
love it. And
Plug
I
that. Mm,
I'm a huge advocate for accessibility.
yeah,
So that was really, really important to me. And
absolutely.
it's still important to me with the Huxian Fox, but I don't want
Mm,
to narrate that for
mm,
exactly that reason. I think it really
yeah.
deserves two different narrators.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just don't think I could do it justice either.
Yep.
So
It's a big
it will be a
ask.
little while away for that because obviously audiobooks can be very expensive to produce. So yeah,
Absolutely. And also, kudos to you for narrating your own novel because I did give it a go for my short story that was 10,000 words long. And I found that to be really, I was determined to do it, but I did struggle. It was really
it's hard.
hard.
It's
Oh,
really hard to do. It took me,
wow.
I would say, over 60 hours, which
Yep.
is significantly longer than a professional, but this is my first book I ever narrated. And
Oh,
I
goodness.
had to learn the editing. I
Yep.
had to learn breath work, actually. So I
Yes.
would constantly run out of breath in a sentence
Yep.
and then I'd have to re-record it,
It's
re-record the sentence. It
crazy,
was
all the
crazy.
stuff. And just trying to get rid of for me, it was the breathing where it's just like, oh, I've taken a breath there. I've got to edit it out. Then I've got to make sure there's enough room with that. And editing it
Yeah.
was so hard. So I definitely think that I'm the same as you, big advocate for accessibility and multiple means of representation. And I
Yeah.
think that hopefully in the future, there will be my vision, my hope will be that audiobooks are just as accessible in self-publishing to produce the same as an ebook and a paperback. I'm sure we're a long way off it, even if some sites offer generative AI voices, which look, not a fan at all with that
Yeah,
stuff.
agreed.
I think that that
Yeah.
is shockingly bad. But I know that that's probably an attempt to bridge that gap, but I'm hoping one day I don't know whether the production costs maybe could go down for producing it, or I don't know, but it would be really
Yeah.
great if we could get that. I think.
I agree with you. And I think because, you know, the voice actors or the narrators
Mm,
need to be paid the way
yep.
that they are getting paid at the moment because,
Yep.
you know, we all deserve to be paid fairly.
Mm,
But there could be other subsidies out there. I mean, there could
mm.
be other options out there to help
To help.
the accessible or like, you know, audiences that need this, you know, accessible
Yes.
format because it's not
Exactly.
just about people that are blind and low vision,
No.
which is also very important, but it's also about people that might have difficulty reading for whatever reason.
Yep.
There's dyslexia and there's other learning disabilities and, you know,
Even
just different
conditions.
abilities and different, you know,
Yeah.
stages of
Even
life and all
you
sorts of
think.
things that make audiobooks more accessible.
Absolutely. I have a friend of mine at work who experiences chronic migraines, and she says she much prefers listening to an audiobook over reading for that reason. It's just easier to digest it. And when I've experienced migraines, I absolutely know what she's talking about because it's just nice to just, and all you can do is just lay down and sleeping is too hard, just listen to something in the back. So, yeah, it's totally not only for people blind or low
Yeah,
vision, but it's certainly, I think everyone loves. Well,
yeah,
I mean, it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I think it's certainly as preferable as the ebook or the paperback option. I think people
yeah.
people love
Like
it.
I don't do audiobooks much at all,
Hmm.
and I don't do ebooks much at all either
Hmm.
because they're not my preferred
Yeah.
format, but that doesn't mean that any other format is less valid.
Yes.
My
Exactly.
preference shouldn't be what
Yeah.
everyone's preference is, and I think some people out there forget that. They
Yep.
think that everybody should just be able to pick up a paperback book and read it. And mind
Yeah.
you, not everyone can afford paperback books
That's
either, and that's why
it.
they buy ebooks, and
That's
it's easier
right.
to carry around, and
There's
you
so
know,
many
there's other
options.
benefits as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. I should get into another question that I have for you, which is what you have written on your website, which is fantastic, which is, and to quote, a champion of bisexual representation because the world needs more bi heroes. So talk to me more about why it is
Yes.
so important to show bi
I love
representation.
that you're asking this question. It
I've got to
is
let
such a
you.
great question. It's so important.
Yeah.
Okay, so the reason why it's personally important to me is because I didn't know I was bisexual for way too long. And I was actually in the middle of writing Plaguelands when I realized, because my main character is bisexual. In both books, they're bisexual because
Yep,
important
it is.
representation.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was writing a short story and the character was bisexual. And then I was like, hang on, why are all my main characters bisexual? I had to just stop for a minute and go, hang on, is this saying something about me? And so that helped me discover it. But what really helped me discover my own sexuality is other people in the media,
Yeah.
in either social media, in books, in film, and things like that.
Mm.
So many singers these days are
Mm-hmm.
coming out as bisexual as
Yeah.
well,
Mm.
and they're talking about it.
Yep.
And then that was really important for me to see that
Yep.
because before I thought because I am attracted to men, I was straight.
Yeah.
I
Mm.
I had been brainwashed to believe that that was the only, you know, way to be
Yep.
as someone who I had no hardly any queer friends. And I just wasn't exposed to it. And
Yeah.
anytime I heard somebody was bisexual, somebody else would say, oh, they're just doing it to be trendy. They're just pretending. They'll end up with a man, which now I realize
Yeah.
if they end up with a man, that's still fair because they're
Yep.
bisexual. So they like men, women, and other genders. Like that's
Oh.
fine if they end up with a man, they're still bisexual.
Oh my
But it
goodness. Yeah.
obviously,
Mm.
brainwashed me into thinking that bisexuality wasn't real. It
Yep.
really was that
Mm.
uh I can't think of what the term they call now,
Uh,
but
about bi-erasure and that
yeah,
kind of stuff.
biracial, that's the term I was
Yes.
looking for. Thank you.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
that's a real thing, and it took me so long to realize. And I only came out a few years ago, and
Mm.
I'd been thinking about it for about 2 years before that. So
Yeah.
it's really recent,
Yep.
and yeah, I'm still exploring that, but it's really cool to be able to stand in my own
Mm.
um, identity and really embrace this side of me. And it opens up a world of opportunity as well.
Certainly.
So, yeah. And
Awesome.
now it's really obvious when I think back to it.
Yeah.
Like, there's certain people that I had crushes on that I didn't realize. Like,
Yeah.
no, luckily, not many friends and no one that I'm
Mm.
really friends with at the moment.
Hmm.
But yeah, I remember when I was younger, I was at university, I had this crush on a friend
Yeah.
that I didn't realize was a crush. I just thought she was
Yes.
so cool.
Yeah.
And the reason that I got nervous around her was just because she was so cool, not because I really
Hmm.
liked her.
Yes.
Now it's
Yes.
obvious.
It's so interesting because I think that there's a lot of socialization that happens in regards to how we are taught to see love and the signs of love and adoration. And when it is so, I guess, binary with, well, heterosexual, first of all, you go, oh, I know
Hmm.
those feelings inside. That is certainly how I feel. I understand how it feels being a female attracted to a male. But when it is an attraction to a female, you doubt yourself because you
Yeah,
think, wait, is this actually and all that stuff, or is it just a friend thing and all that? But there's so much discussion that doesn't get talked about it purely because of representation in the media. Well, not purely, but that's a big
yeah,
contributing factor. Representation
yeah,
is part of it. You can't recognize it if you don't
yeah.
know what's there to see it
What's
as.
there. And I
Ah.
think sometimes it's not easier, but it might
Hmm.
be easier to recognize that maybe you're lesbian if you have absolutely no feelings for men.
Yep.
And I don't want to imply that is the case for everyone because
Mm.
certainly it is individual, and we certainly know anybody in the queer space has had their difficulties.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't want to belittle that by saying
Mm.
that. But
Mm.
so now I do have more queer friends, by the way, and some
Yeah.
of my friends that are lesbian have said no, they just knew because they had absolutely no attraction to men. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, and they just seem to always know that, and that's not always the case with lesbians either. And I also
No.
have another friend who's a lesbian that it took her just as long as
Yeah.
it did for me to figure out that I was bisexual as
Yeah.
well. So
It's complex.
it's it is complex and it's fluid as
Yeah.
well. And that was
Mm.
another thing I didn't understand. I didn't realize that I could potentially be more attracted to women right now
Yep.
than men or something like that. This is the craziest thing. I thought it had to be 50-50. Like I
Mm.
thought I had to
Mm.
find as many men attractive as I did women.
Yeah.
Like, where the hell did that come from? It doesn't even make sense anymore that I've realized it, but that's
Oh,
what I thought.
it's bizarre how we make
It's
up these kind of
bizarre.
rules in our heads
Yeah.
around how sexuality needs to be framed. And I understand that rules certainly have a purpose for figuring out things, but I am glad to hear that there is a rise, as you said before, with musicians in particular, as one perspective with their coming out as bisexual or non-binary as well. I think that
Yeah.
that is certainly something we're seeing a lot more of, and I'm all for. I'm certainly here for it because when you start to unpack things that we've learnt around gender and sexuality, you realize a lot of it is less structured than we really should be caring about.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing
Yeah.
in my books as well. I never
Mm,
actually name their sexuality in the book
yep.
because I want it to be queer normative world. They don't need labels.
Yeah.
It's just one character is only into women,
Yeah.
another's not into women at all, and then
Mm,
some characters are, into in fact, Fan is into men, women, and non-binary people.
yeah.
So, yeah, so she is bisexual, and it does get shown through the book that that's the case,
Yeah.
but she never has to say, I'm bisexual,
Yeah. Never has to like
because
make a
it's not
declaration.
questioned. Yeah,
Yeah.
but right now, I think you don't have to label yourself,
Mm,
but those labels can be helpful to find your people and
yeah.
find commonalities.
Yep.
So, in the world as it is right now, where we're still fighting to be equal, I
Mm,
think the labels are important, but I hope in the future we can do away with that and
mm,
just be. And whoever we love is who we love. And if we don't love anyone, that's fine as well. Like
absolutely.
it shouldn't really matter.
No, it shouldn't really matter. And I think the focus will shift on how important labels are for one thing, and then it will go into a less important thing, but it's still something as natural. And well, first of all, it is natural, but it will be a
Yes.
description of, oh, my hair color is this, or, the clothes that I
Exactly.
wear are that. And that's the label.
Yeah.
It won't have any
Yeah.
sort of, hopefully, that's the
Yeah.
future utopia
Yeah.
where it will be that it is as simple as that rather than like a label that is potentially exposing yourself to persecution, either socially or
Yeah.
violently, and all those kind of
Yeah.
things that we'll get
And
into.
especially because it is fluid, sometimes it's uncomfortable to label you as one thing
Mm,
when you might not just be that one thing or you don't fit that mold
mm,
at 100% as
yeah.
well.
A lot of
So, yeah,
pressure to
okay.
sometimes
It
feel
is.
like this is it, the label. Like, what if it changes? And it's like, it's okay. You can
Yeah,
go back and forth. No one, anyone that's got a problem with it, I mean, that's
that's
a
their
concerning
problem.
problem. It's a concerning problem for them to
Yeah.
yeah, honestly. But no, I'm really
Yeah.
glad to hear that there is bi-representation in your books because it is one of the areas of sexuality that can run the risk of being fetishized. Well, I think that queer literature has certainly had its fair share with fetishized. Yeah, I can't say the word.
Fetishes.
Fetishize.
Yeah. It is a bit of a tongue twister, to be fair.
Being exploited. Just
Yes.
gotta go with that. But
The
yeah.
truth is, I do worry sometimes about the two of my books, but I'm going to
Mm,
continue writing by characters, so I
mm,
think it'll all come out in the wash. But in
mm,
Plague Lands, there's a love triangle. Martina, the
mm.
main character, is female, and then there's a female love interest and a male love interest.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's almost cliche that she's got, an
Hmm.
interest in two different genders.
Yeah.
And then in the Huxian Fox, I worry because Fan is promiscuous.
Hmm.
And obviously, that is
Oh, I
something like
see.
people a lot of the time assume bisexuals are,
Mm,
promiscuous, which
hmm.
is not necessarily the case. It really, you can
Mm,
be, very, selective and still be
absolutely. Yeah.
bisexual.
Yep. Yep.
But just Fan's character, it suited her, and I like that about her.
Yes.
And also, promiscuity is actually completely fine, and I want people to know that's fine as
Yes.
long as you're with consenting people and you're
Yeah.
not lying about it or something. Like if you're in a relationship where you're supposed to be committed to one person and it's not a
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
polyamorous situation, then
Sure.
be committed to that person. That's
Mm,
got nothing to do with being single and being promiscuous. And I just
yes.
think that's completely fine.
Yeah.
But I always kind of concerned that people think that I'm leaning into some stereotypes, and I
Oh,
don't mean to be because that's just how these characters and these stories came out. And
absolutely.
particularly with Plague Lands, because I was exploring my own sexuality, I think
Yes.
that's definitely why there ended up being a male and female love interests.
Yes.
But yeah, certainly in the track, I have plans of having opposite sex partners in a romance that they're still bisexual.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
that would be
they might
interesting.
look straight presenting, but are
Mm,
actually bisexual. So,
I
yeah.
think that would
So I
be
do have a plan for
great.
those characters in the future.
Oh my gosh. So that's a future project that is coming about. But I also think that the fact that you are conscious about these discussions that people and the concerns that people might have shows that you're actively aware of trying to subvert those stereotypes as well. And at the end of the day, promiscuity is not, yes, it is a stereotype in the media for bisexuality and pansexuality to fall in that category, but it's still a part of the human condition. And
Hmm.
humans of all different sexualities and expressions will
Hmm.
just express their sexuality in their own unique way. And that is exactly how you've written the character like that. And that's how you wanted them to
Yeah.
be presented. So
Yeah.
I think it's really good that it's there. More
Yeah.
power to them rather than, you don't want to write a character that didn't seem authentic to what they're really feeling like.
Yes.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's
And
really good.
with a little bit of plot spoiler, but not so much because romance is as romance is, they
Yeah.
generally end up with the partner, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
When it is a sapphic love story in there between Fan and Ashanya as well. So
Yeah.
things end up changing, and then Fan obviously becomes less promiscuous because of this
Yeah.
interest of Ashanya as their
Hmm.
relationship grows. So
Hmm.
anyway, we are up
Hmm.
to writing book three of the Huxian Fox at the
Oh
moment.
my
I think I'm
gosh.
skipping on to maybe
No,
you're
please,
probably
because
going to ask this in
that
a
was going to be the
second.
next thing that I ask about your future
I thought it
projects.
might have been.
So tell me everything.
Okay, so yes, the project I'm working on at the moment is Huxian Fox 3. So the second book has already been written and is in
Mm.
edits at the moment. And the second book is just so fun because it goes a little bit more into the romance part of it as well. And I don't want to give anything away, but yeah, it's epic.
Wow.
And so yes, I haven't actually started writing Foxy and Fox 3 at the moment. I'm still plotting.
Mm-hmm.
So I have known since the very first word written for the first book how I wanted it to end. I
Yeah.
actually knew how I wanted all the books to end, all three books. But how to get there, I'm still fully figuring out. I've got most of it. And then obviously I do the whole pantsing thing that I was saying before, like the in
Yep.
between the points.
Yep.
Um, but when I first started plotting out a lot of the ideas that I already had, I realized there was just a little bit too linear. There was no, it was like,
Mm.
you know, how a
It's like,
story is quite interesting where you can take two steps forward and one step back sort of thing.
yes.
There's a bit of push and pull.
Yeah.
I didn't have any of they just always were kind of succeeding.
Interesting. Yeah, you got to have that,
So
bit of a
I had to put
failure or
some,
whatever it is.
yeah, yeah, some a little bit more challenges in there for them. It's already pretty tough, to be fair. So I'm really torturing them a little bit.
We love
But
them.
yes, it's got to be entertaining for obviously the reader. So
Yeah.
if it was just linear, it'd be a bit boring.
I
So
think that it's
yes,
going to
that's the
turn out
main project
amazing.
I'm working on. Um,
Yes.
but that's because the other installment in the Plagued Land series, so it will be a trilogy as well, but I'm also writing a prequel novella,
Oh, awesome.
which has also been in edits. And I'm really hoping that it's in a stage at close to the end of March where
Ooh.
it's going to come out. So it's just a novella.
Uh-huh.
Um, and it will actually be available for free as well. So this will be one that if you
Fantastic.
sign up to the newsletter, you get it for free.
Love it.
You can purchase it. You will be able to purchase it on, Amazon and some other online stores as well. And paperback versions will be available to buy as well. But yeah, if you just want a taster of the world, this will
Mm,
be available for free. Sign up on the newsletter. So
so cool.
the cover is done, but I haven't revealed it yet. So that is
Oh,
coming very soon.
love to see that. I can't wait to see that. I love a good
I should
cover.
tell you what it's called. Oh my gosh.
Oh, tell us.
So
Okay. Yep. Yep.
it has been announced, so it's
Yes.
not an exclusive, but it will be
Okay.
getting called, it is called Plagued Beginnings, which
Plagued
kind of
Beginnings.
makes sense
Yep,
because it's the beginning of the story.
that's it.
Um,
Love it.
but it was actually voted on by readers as well.
Ah,
So
awesome.
the readers chose it.
I love that. I think it's going to be, yeah, I love knowing a little bit more about the backstory of a story that's already there. I don't know what it is. I feel like maybe it's like the how people feel about writing fan fiction when they were younger about that stuff. It's like, oh, what if this happened and what if that? And yeah, that's going to be super exciting. So we're going to be
Yeah.
looking towards March for that release. So that's going to be the
Yeah,
first.
I'll probably be announcing the release.
Yep,
Sometime in March with
sometime in March.
probably a release in April, I think.
Okay,
It really depends
nice.
on what comes back with the edits, and you know
Yep.
what it's like
Mm,
in indie world. We're very reliant on other people to get us stuff sometimes, which might push back release dates when we wanted it.
yep.
But this book also like really did a number on me.
Yeah.
I struggled to make it good in the first instance, and I rewrote
Mm,
the whole thing, and I like it now, but
yep.
it did take significantly longer than I originally planned, especially for a novella,
Wow.
which is, I think it's around 27,000 words.
Yeah,
So,
it's a sizable
uh,
novella. So I think
yeah.
that it's a labor of love. I'm excited to see it. So it'll be very exciting. Can you let us know where can people find you on social media and where can people purchase books from you online or in some in-person events?
Yeah, sure. So find me on social media on Nikki Brooke Author. So it's Nikkibroke
Yep.
Author. On all the big platforms except for X because I will have nothing to do with them. But yeah, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok are the main ones that I'm on anyway.
Nice.
And then my author website is nikkibrook.com with the same
Perfect.
spelling.
Easy.
So easy. And you'll find links to different options to buy it from there. So you can buy direct from me, you can buy from Amazon, Waterstones, Barnes and Nobles, and things like that. So depending on where you are in the world, that helps. And also a link to the audiobook as well for Plague Lands is there. But yes, my next in-person event is at Book Fair Australia, which I know you're also going to be at. So we get to meet in
Yes. Oh,
person.
it's going to be amazing. We get to see each other.
Amazing.
Wow. So
It's going
that
to be
is the
such an
next one.
amazing event. Unfortunately, tickets are already sold out. So if you don't have one, then you can, I don't know, start a fan event outside the
Yes,
venue.
something. Oh, I can't believe it's sold out. I think you were at the meeting. Well, I don't
No.
know whether you heard the recording of the meeting, but I think it's like
Yes, I was
1,900.
there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tickets
So
sold.
it will be huge, and there's so many
Oh,
authors there. Like some of my favorite authors are going to be there. I'm so excited.
it's going to be
So
so
yeah, so that
cool.
is the 21st and 22nd of February,
Yes, yes. This episode will
very
certainly come
soon.
out before that. I'm making sure of it because, it'd
Oh,
be a good tie-in for, the Book Fair Australia. And so are you
yeah.
going to be attending any other events this year?
Yes, so I'll be at quite a few actually. After that, there's I can't remember the dates, unfortunately,
That's all
off the
good.
top of my head. But we've got Supernova, Oz Comic Con,
Love it.
Clunes will be in March, which I think is the
Yes.
21st and the 22nd,
Yep.
22nd as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which is huge as
It's
well. So
huge.
definitely come to that.
I'll be there.
Um,
Only for one day though. Yeah. One day, but I'll
and
be there.
then
Yeah.
Oh, and the book booth, I will be with them in August. So yeah, so quite
Yes.
a few events still coming up.
It's all
Yeah.
happening thick and fast. And these are all in Victoria as well. Yes.
At the moment, I'm only in Victoria, but I
Yep.
am also considering going to Book Fair Australia when they're in Sydney, which is, I
Yeah.
believe, November.
Yes.
And then next year, I will definitely be hopefully going to some more interstate events as well. That's my hope at the moment, but I've nothing booked at this time.
That is amazing. You've
So,
still got
yeah.
so many events coming up. Oh my
So many
goodness.
events. And hopefully by at some stage this year, I will have some of those other novels out that people can
Exactly.
pick up at those events as well.
that's also the thing too. You're just going to keep on building your catalogue because you've already got 2 amazing books out, and this is the beginning of a new chapter. Yes, books, whatever. Oh God, I walked into that
Pun
one.
intended.
Unintended for that. But yes, it seems like there's a new chapter beginning in your own world in so many different ways. And the creative expression of that is coming forth. So I'm so excited for you, Nikki. I really
Thank
can't wait
you.
to see what's next. And I feel like it's just going to be bigger and better every single year and publication that comes. So
Oh,
thank
that's
you
so
so
nice.
much.
And you too. I am
Mm,
so looking forward to meeting you in the flesh.
yes, me too. Not long now, not long now. And then
Not
we'll see
long.
each other. But Nikki, thank you so much for joining me on the show today. I really appreciate all your insights into your writing process. I know a lot of people are going to find a lot of inspiration and joy from listening to you speak. So thank you so much.
Oh, I really appreciate you having me on and for your very insightful questions. It has been a lot of fun. Thank you very much.
I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you so much for watching the Indie Author Live show. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you want to know more about my own literary journey or the journey of some of our guests that you might have seen on the show, please consider subscribing or following my Substack or my YouTube channel. Finally, if you want to know more about my novel, Still Waters Run Deep, it is available on many distribution websites such as Amazon, Etsy, Baventi, you name it. All that information will be in the show notes if you're interested in learning more about my story to do with elemental magic and coming of age. Take care, everyone, and see you in the next episode.